You don't want the long version, do you? You want to learn about a lot of things, but you can't stand listening for hours on end. Here in Do You Know, I deliver bite-sized pieces of knowledge in short episodes so you get to know about a lot of people, history, animals, sports, science, and much more without losing your attention over so many details. Do You Know? Extremely short introduction to everything. I'm your host, Danny. Join me on this short, sweet, and valuable journey to knowledge. Welcome to a new Do You Know episode and a very short introduction to Marco Polo. You can find the text on my website, EnglishPlusPodcast.com, and better yet, if you are a patron, you will get a special PDF listening practice worksheet to take your English along with your knowledge to the next level. You can find the links in the description of the episode, and now, without further ado, let's talk about Marco Polo. They called him the man with a million stories. People flocked to Marco Polo's home to hear him tell exciting tales about his travels in distant lands. Marco Polo won fame for his journeys across Asia. He wrote a book about his travels that became one of the most famous travel guides in history. So, who is this man? Let's start talking about his early life. Marco Polo was born in 1254 to a family of merchants. His home was Venice, Italy. Venetian merchants bought and sold valuable Chinese goods, including precious silk cloth. Such goods were brought to Europe along an ancient route known as the Silk Road. The merchants also used the route to travel east on trading missions. Marco's mother died when he was a young boy. His family taught him to be a merchant. He learned how to read, write, calculate, and use foreign money. In 1269, Marco's father and uncle Niccolo and Maffeo returned to Venice after visiting China. In China, they had met the Mongol conqueror Kublai Khan. The Khan invited the Polos to return. He asked them to bring Christian scholars to explain the Christian religion to him. And now let's talk about Marco's trip to China. In 1271, Niccolo and Maffeo set out for China again. Marco, then 17 years old, joined his father and uncle for the trip. Two priests also traveled with the Polos. But the route was dangerous, and the priests soon turned back. It took the Polos 4 difficult years to reach China. The journey led across deserts and high mountains. They passed through wild countrysides where bandits lurked, ready to rob and kill. They braved heat and cold, floods, deep snow drifts, and blinding sandstorms. At last, they reached the summer palace of Kublai Khan at Chengdu. The Khan welcomed the Polos warmly. He offered Marco a job. Marco accepted, and the Polos lived in China for the next 17 years. Marco traveled on many special missions across the Khan's kingdom and to distant lands. When Marco returned from his missions, he told the Khan vivid stories about the people and lands he visited. Over time, the Polos worried that Kublai Khan would not allow them to leave. Several times they had asked the Khan for permission to return to Europe, but the Khan enjoyed his visitors so much that he would not grant their wish. Finally, the Khan changed his mind. And now let's talk about Marco Polo's return to Venice. In 1292, Kublai Khan asked Marco to escort a Mongol princess to Persia. The Polos traveled by ship from China to the Persian Gulf. Then the Polos headed for Venice, finally reaching home in 1295. Marco had been away so long that nobody recognized him. We know about Marco's travels because in 1298, he became a prisoner of war. He shared his cell with a writer named Rustichello, who helped Marco turn his stories into a book. Rustichello added some details of his own, but much of Marco's book seems to be true. Marco Polo returned to Venice after his release from prison. He died in 1324, but his book remained popular for centuries. Merchants, mapmakers, and explorers all looked to the book for information about Asian lands. Even the navigator Christopher Columbus owned a copy. So, that was everything I wanted to share with you in this very short introduction to Marco Polo. Don't forget to visit my website, EnglishPlusPodcast.com, and check the great learning opportunities you can find there. There is the Activity Center with daily fun activities, quizzes, and logic and math puzzles. And if you decide to become a patron on Patreon, there is a lot more available only to patrons, like the exclusive audio series, among many other benefits you get when you become a patron. All the links you need are in the description of the episode. What are you waiting for? Take your English and learning to the next level and never stop learning with EnglishPlusPodcast.com. Thank you very much for listening to this episode. This is your host, Danny. I will see you next time.